You have to ask yourself, how do you want to make a bigger impact, in people's lives or in their businesses, as well as your community or their community, making sure that you're making a difference. I believe that as you're continuing to grow, you should be thinking about ways that you can give back to the community or someone else's community.
You are listening to Amplify Your Success Podcast, episode 315. And today, let's go behind the scenes of a successful media and publishing company to find out what you can tap into. You ready for this? Let's get started. Welcome to the Amplify Your Success Podcast. Get ready to ramp up your revenue, amplify your impact, and make your mark in the world. This is the show for experts, thought leaders, and service professionals who want to shatter their limits and achieve that next level. You're going to find out from other experts and influencers how they made it. Now, let's get amplified. Hi there, inspired entrepreneurs and business leaders. It's your host, Melanie Benson, Authority Amplifier, and your Possibility Igniter. Today, I've got a special guest joining us who has built a very successful and profitable media empire, and I can't wait to share her with you. But first, let's talk about how does that fit into your authority brand roadmap. Now, I've been using this concept of an authority brand roadmap for several years now, and what I find is there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle you have to put together, and it helps to have a clear roadmap of all the pieces that need to come together so that you stand out in a very crowded market and become the go-to most logical choice for your ideal clients and your peers who are looking to collaborate with someone just like you. You don't want to blend in. You don't want to be invisible. You don't want to be a best kept secret. You want to be the one that they think of when they need what you do. And I would like to walk you through that roadmap in my free download at amplifywithmelanie.com. I will show you the 7-step framework that my authority roadmap is based on and help you identify maybe some of the missing puzzle pieces and where you want to focus for these next 12 months to make sure you are moving the needle and getting the right things in place, because we've got to be nimble, we've got to be adaptable, and we've got to have a solid offering to be relevant in this market. So head over to amplifywithmelanie.com, download it, then let me know what area you're working on. Just DM me or give me a little shout out in the comments of wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome back, Amplifiers. I'm so excited for today's episode. We're going behind the scenes and discovering what it takes to build a successful and profitable media empire. And I have invited my friend Charlotte Howard Collins to join us. She is an award-winning female business growth expert, a best-selling author, a speaker, an entrepreneur, and CEO of Wealthy Women Entrepreneurs Network. And she is the founder of Wealthy Women Entrepreneurs of Influence magazine. And let me tell you, I'm just hitting the highlights here. She's got so much she's got going on. She helps female entrepreneurs build successful and profitable media empires, teaching females entrepreneurs a repeatable process and system for launching, monetizing, and scaling their business using the power of media. Charlotte used her media strategies to build her own multi-million-dollar businesses. She's received numerous awards during her entrepreneurial career, including the CREA Global Honoree, Top 100 Dynamic Leader, and Iconic Writer, Influencer, and many more. But she's just an awesome human being, and I can't wait to share her with you today. Charlotte, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for having me. It's an absolute honor to be here.
Well, we've been orbiting each other's planets for quite some time, and we've had the privilege of doing a little bit in the past. And you were just such a dynamo. I was like, I got to get her on the podcast. So thank you for saying yes. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we were in the green room just catching up for a minute, and Charlotte, you started sharing all the amazing things that you're up to. I just got so curious how you got started in the media world and just like, what was the spark for building this empire that you have today?
Well, that is such a great question. Thank you so much for asking it. I've always been passionate about learning more about people's life stories and their businesses at the same time, and really helping them to get their business and their life stories out to the world so that they can inspire and empower other people to, of course, confidently go after their dreams. And so being in the beauty industry background and working for the top major beauty industry giant, which most people know of, is Regis Corporation. I just saw many struggles that many of the people in the beauty industry itself, as well as many other businesses, had have been having different struggles and challenges with. And so I was one of those people that wanted to transition from being in corporate so that I could really help more people to go after their dreams. And so that's how I landed into the media space. First, of course, publishing being the main vehicle of choice that I started out with in the media space.
Mm. Well, I'm glad you said that because I was curious. We're talking about media, and I think that we have a lot of different ways media, the word is used. Could you maybe unpack a little bit, like, what do you mean by media, and what are the key types of media you really think are the most impactful right now?
Absolutely. Well, for me, in the sense of media, media is a publishing tool, and that's for me. It means like a form of books, magazines, TVs, and of course podcasting. Those are like the top choices of media that you definitely want to take advantage of. A lot of people even tap into blogging, which you can then, of course, take your blogs and turn it into magazines and turn it into books, just different ways to really appeal to your target audience of choice. So choosing that vehicle is going to be very crucial when it comes to building a media empire.
Mm. Yeah, I'm glad you brought podcasts in. So, hey, friends, just a little shout out. When you are a guest on podcasts, you are in the media. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people forget that, right? It's like
Yes.
these are, even though TV and traditional radio is what the mass uh, consciousness says, like that's media, like there are so many forms of media right now. And podcasts are one of the rising stars, which is why I love
Hmm.
having a podcast and being a guest on podcast. So let's dig a little bit deeper into that, Charlotte. You brought up a lot of different types of media. And here's what I know from the women in my community and my client base who they want to tap into media. But the idea of like trying to do it all maybe gets a little overwhelming and daunting. How do you think someone chooses like, where they should focus? And I just wanna clarify for a minute, we're talking about what you're hosting right now, not necessarily what you're being spotlighted on, right? So, just for our listeners and all of us to get onto the same page, we're talking about how you can be a leader in this space. So, sorry, back to my question, Charlotte. How do you think we should choose the type of media to focus on?
Well, I think that that is a great question. And I have to say that what you're passionate about doing plays a major part of that because there are a ton of people in the space that love, of course, writing, and then you have a lot of people that love speaking. So in that area, if you are someone that loves speaking, podcast is definitely one of the top picks, especially if you don't want to, Melanie, I know you'll laugh at this, if you don't want to get ready have to put on your makeup and all of that stuff. Podcasting is definitely going to be one of your avenues of choice. But I know for me personally, I love to get to actually get dressed up, even though whether I'm on podcast or TV. It just I feel different when I do it.
Yeah, you feel fancy, right? Like I
Yes.
was just featured in a series that we did this major film production. I was like, I feel so fancy right
Yeah,
now, It does have a different energy to it.
absolutely.
Yeah. Can we talk about magazines for a minute? In so many ways, print media has kind of like entered this weird space, right? Because we have so many digital assets that are available. And I don't know if you have a print version of your magazine, but like if somebody wanted to really stand out in their market, how would having your own magazine fit into that puzzle?
Oh, absolutely. I do have print and e versions of my book because and the magazines as well. I feel like the easiest way for you to really dive into um, the e version of your magazine is something as simple as compiling your newsletter and then converting it over to a PDF document. And of course, if you wanted to do it yourself, you can definitely do that. But if you are someone that's not tech savvy, you can definitely outsource that as well. Find someone that's already experienced in that industry and just hand it off to them. And, of course, picking the days and times that you want to have your magazine published, whether it's on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis as well. And I don't know if you want me to kind of share a little bit of like the easiest digital platform
Oh, that would be
that
lovely. Yes, please.
okay.
Because this is a conversation that's starting to emerge again, right? And in the
Yes.
media opportunities, like, okay, so a lot of people have a podcast. A lot of people have some kind of a TV presence or video presence, but magazines, not everybody's doing the magazines. This is a
Mhm.
really powerful way to stand out.
Yes, it is, and it's a great way to build your list as well, so you can have people opt in on your website to. You can use it as a lead generator to of course build your email list, and you can offer your magazine or offer your magazine sample as a way of saying thank you to your target audience. So you can use platforms like Flipbook, you can use a platform like Issue as well, or as I mentioned, you can actually have someone do it for you. On our network, we have different hosts, of course, that have us to do their magazines because they're like really busy. So they don't want to do any of that stuff. But if you are someone that really want an easy way to get your magazine out and build your platform and build more credibility, you can use Issue or Flipbook as well to do that. And they offer free versions as well as paid versions as well.
Mhm. I actually really like the idea of making it like a gift or a lead magnet. Um, I think you might wanna think about, like, how you're going to, how consistent you're going to be with the delivery, right? Because it is a
Yes.
big, amount of work to put together each month. Huge fan of outsourcing where you can.
Oh,
But,
yes.
what's the ideal distribution right now of magazines? Like, monthly, quarterly, annual? Like, what really is a most impactful, distribution sequence?
Well, the if you're going to be able to be consistent, a monthly magazine is for someone who really want to leverage um especially you start diving into sponsorships and things like that as
Mhm.
well, that you could definitely utilize that to use a magazine to grow your business from that aspect. Most popular of course is quarterly, and you're able to then of course keep pre-selling into the following year, depending on when you're wanting to have your magazine published. And you made a great point, Melanie. Definitely thinking about getting clear on when you would want your magazine to publish and just being consistent with it.
Mhm. Yeah, and, we talk a lot about collaboration here, Charlotte, and I'm sure you know that. That's one of my superpowers. But
Yes.
I think, having magazine, having a media empire, having these different platforms, I can only imagine there's so much collaboration that has to go into it. What do you think is the lifeblood of the media empire that you've built?
That is such a great question. I believe, like you said, collaboration is key. Partnering up with um, the people who are already serving your audience, and you have to ask yourself, how do you want to make a bigger impact, in people's lives or in their businesses, as well as your community or their community, making sure that you're making a difference. I believe that as you're continuing to grow, you should be thinking about ways that you can give back to the community or someone else's community. As a way, I'm huge on philanthropy, and I think that you should definitely make a difference in other people's lives, making it a win-win opportunity for for both, you know, for the collaborative aspect of it.
Mhm. Yeah. And I would just imagine if you're gonna step into building some kind of a media empire like Charlotte has, that this is not something you want to do alone, right? Like, there is no solo in empire,
That's
right?
right.
So, when it comes to really kinda like I wanna just even go back to the beginning of it. It's like you may not even realize, like, I'm gonna build an empire. You may just be starting somewhere. Where do we start if we're going to start really growing our reach through the use of media?
Wow. I think it all goes back to your purpose. What are you passionate about? What's your purpose? What's your why? I think it all ties in together, because some people may be frightened of speaking, and so they may revert to just writing more of what they are feeling, or they may want to start with a book because they feel that they would be able to resonate better with the aspect of writing a book versus speaking on someone's platform, which I think when you combine both of them is really powerful. And there's so many ways that you can really grow your business when you combine the two, in that aspect.
Hmm. Okay, so I might have asked this question a little bit already, but I just want to go a little deeper into this because I think something really magical is emerging here. Um, you know, many of us recognize the power of having a book and writing the book, but what you've done is you've built a publishing and media empire, which means you are helping others do this. And I'm just curious, what was the catalyst between I'm going to write a book, I'm going to have a magazine, or I'm going to have a show to no, I'm actually going to create this place where people can get the support they need to step into their version of their media empire?
Wow, that's a great question. It all started because of the impact first that I had experienced myself, and then I started having other women reach out to me saying, "Hey, I saw what you're doing. I want to do this too. I want to build my business doing this. I really want to get my message and my brand out to the masses." And so that's where it all started. They were struggling with trying to create their own books and creating their own media empire. So they then started saying, well, how can I do this and not have to learn everything, of course, because there are people that will want to, of course, learn how to do it, as you know, Melanie, and then there will be some people that want to hand it off and let us do it.
Yeah. And so you said what I was hoping you would say, which is when you are in your superpower and you, even if nothing else is making sense and you start to get momentum, people notice. And I think that's one of the things that's a catalyst for great impact in the world is like do the thing you were put on this planet to do, say yes to it. And when you're like shining your light and letting yourself be seen, people go, "Hey, how did you do that?" And
Yes,
all of a sudden you're like, "Okay, I guess I have a media empire. I guess I have a business model." And, we don't always have to go into it knowing how it's all gonna come out, but I just love that you were sharing, like, you were just doing what you were feeling called to do.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so there's one last question emerging around this. I was thinking of all the people in our Amplify community here who in some way, shape, or form have said to me over the years, I do want to be seen more. I don't want to be a best kept secret, Melanie, but like, I don't know. Do I have like a message? Do I have something that other people want to learn about? What would you say to that person right now who's maybe in their doubt or their lack of clarity and to help them start connecting the dots?
Wow. I feel that everyone has a passion and a purpose, and everyone has a unique superpower that they can help teach someone else how to do something that they are already good at, that they're already great at. And I would say definitely go after what you're called to do because the longer you hold back, the more people you're not able to impact at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there's no sense playing small, find that thing that you're passionate about and just lean into it. Love it. Charlotte, how do people find you?
They can find me by going to www.charlottehowardcollins.com. And of course, I am on social media everywhere. I've utilized social media to connect with many, many people to really help make an impact in all
Mm.
areas. So I would love to have each and every one of you connect with me. And of course, uh, Melanie, you have such an amazing community and definitely connect with me in her community as well.
Yeah. And I know that if somebody wanted to, so like, let me say that differently. I know from this conversation, you have piqued some curiosity, you've piqued some intrigue, and there are people that are going to be like, I want to build an empire. Like, I want to tap more into media. If they go to your website, what's the best way for like, should they book a consultation with you, or do you have a resource they should start with?
Yes, if they go to charlottehowardcollins.com, they can reach out and have a free consult with me.
Good, good. Thank you for offering that. And just to go back to the social media, we will link all those up in the show notes for you. So if you're like, okay, well, how do I find her? Like I will link them all up for you. And actually, that's how Charlotte and I first met. Is we had gotten
Yes.
connected through a mutual friend on social media, and just definitely stayed in touch. And I brought Charlotte into another event a couple years ago, and it's just been a real treat to get to know Charlotte through social, and then take it off into a whole whole 'nother realm of media, right?
Absolutely. I'm so grateful to have connected with you and to be in your circle as you're doing some amazing things and making a huge difference in people's lives. So thank you so, so much.
Aw, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Okay, before we wrap up, I always like to ask a couple more fun questions. I like for people to get to know you behind the business, the human behind the business, and really get clear about some of the things you've had to do. Now, um, I think we all have to make a very bold decision somewhere in our journey to get where we are today. What is the boldest thing you ever had to do to build this media empire you have today?
I took a risk on me. I think it's important to really believe in yourself and not let the naysayers hold you back from moving forward.
Mm.
So investing in you, betting on you instead of just listening to other people who are trying to hold you back because they want you to stay in this box of not following your dreams.
Mm. Was there a lot of naysayers?
Yes.
I'm actually glad you said that and you brought that into the conversation because I think sometimes we let the naysayers win, even if it's the naysayer inside our own head, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you have to tap into to have the strength to get that kind of noise coming at you, but do what you knew you were supposed to do anyway?
I absolutely invested in a coach.
Mm.
And I think it's important to surround yourself with people who believe in you. And really, it's all about shifting your mindset. Because when you're surrounding yourself with people who are in the same, I would say, areas that will help you to grow, it's important for you to tap into that so that you can start transforming from within, so that it reflects on the outside. And so you're shining bright, if you will.
I love it. I love it. And I truly agree. I did have somebody in my ear going, maybe you should get a job.
Yes,
Like,
I did too.
no, I cannot have a job. I am unemployable. I'm not going backwards. How do I make it work? Like for me, it became a fire starter. So
Yes, I agree. I had the same thing happen too.
yeah. And it just strengthened your resolve, didn't it?
Yes, it does.
Do not
Imagine
doubt
the
me.
imagine the people who would have not been able to experience all the gifts that you are sharing right now, and the lives that you're changing, the businesses impact that you're creating. And so it's like that's what people need to understand, that surround yourself around other like-minded people so that you can get the support and the accountability that you need to thrive in your life and in your business at the same time.
Mm. Ah, such great counsel. Okay, last question, I promise. What is one thing you wished you would have done sooner because once you did it, it was a game changer and you're like, "Why did I wait so long?"
Wow. I wish I had started my business sooner.
Mm.
I believe that it is entrepreneurship by far is one of the best ways to put an end to poverty. As you can see right now with the pandemic going on, there are people right now that are still struggling, even with having a job. It's not really stable, because there's so many people that are getting laid off, even without notice. And so if you have a side hustle or you want to make this your main business of choice, I would say go after it. I wish I had done it sooner. Um, and I'm sure there are many other people who wish they had it as well.
Mm. Well said. Well said. Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Thank you, Charlotte, so much for joining us today and sharing a bit about your journey to creating a uh, empire around media. And Charlotte's just such an extraordinary person, and she's one of those go-getters that's blazing a trail, and she's
Thank
building her
you.
empire. So make sure you're connected with her, and if this is sparking a little interest in you, you're thinking, wow, like, okay, I think it's time for me to take this to the next level. I highly recommend you reach out to Charlotte and request that consultation with her and see how this might take shape for you. So thank you again, Charlotte.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in as well.
Thanks for tuning in today, Amplifier. Be sure to join us right now in the Amplify Your Authority community at authorityamplifiers.com, and I'll share my 7 proven tips to be a highly paid expert that stands out in a crowded market. Plus, we're going to keep this conversation going, and I want to hear from you how you're going to amplify your authority and make a greater impact. Before you go, please take a minute to give our show and our guests some love over on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Leave your full name, and I'll spotlight you and your authority on social media.